Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Sebastian and today I'm going to be showing you what the Epiphany Bridge script is all about. If you have heard of Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if not, well, today you're going to learn a great marketing tool that you'll be able to use not only in ClickFunnels but any other marketing piece of material that you want to create. I will show you how to use the Anchor app to record a podcast while also recording yourself while you record the podcast, so you can create multiple types of content for your business. I hope you guys find a lot of value from this video, and if so, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Sebastian, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Anchor app on your phone to record podcasts from home. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the app, and all I need at this point is just my headphones and my iPhone. As long as you have this, you have an empty room at home that you can use. You can also set up a camera like this, get your lighting coming, and just start recording, right? And what happens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this not only for YouTube, but I'm also going to use it for my podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about my origin story, meaning who am I and why is it that I'm getting into the field of social media marketing and entrepreneurship. So now I'm going to press record and I'm going to do the intro to my podcast. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Sebastian and you're listening to Seb Talks. Now today I'm going to be talking about my origin story. Now a lot of you guys know me and know that I am a social media manager in the United States, but what you don't know is the story behind it, the reason why I'm here today. So I will mainly focus on that today. I will mainly talk about who I was before and the things that have happened in my life that have gotten me to the point where I am today, and to the stage of where I want to work with clients on social media marketing. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Cool. So right there I recorded a 40-second intro to the podcast. Very, very simple. As far as Anchor goes, I really like this app because you don't have to go over and over and over again through the content that you created, right? So I would honestly just suggest that you guys don't get too picky when it comes to Anchor, and just kind of get content out there. Like, people are gonna enjoy genuine content. So if you guys are a little bit more monotone, then that's fine. Be that way, right? Be that way on camera and on the podcast as well. If you guys are very happy and vibey, but you're not really able to show that in the podcast, then you need to record and just post it until you get to a point where you feel really comfortable speaking in front of the camera or speaking through a microphone. Okay, so all I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna save that intro. I'm gonna name it intro to origin story, and I'm gonna add the recording to the episode, and that's it. Okay, so you're gonna select I'm not ready to publish yet, and now I'm gonna get back into like the actual story. Alright, so let's get right into it. As far as my backstory, I want to share with you guys what I did to get to this point, and it started very young. I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. My father, he was never really part of my life, but he is a entrepreneur. He is all about business. He worked in the financial industry, and my mom, she had always been in marketing. She is an amazing communicator. She's been on radio, she's been on TV shows. So both of them were really into marketing and business and finance, and I think that kind of shaped my life, whether it was directly through my mom or indirectly through my dad. But after moving to the United States for different reasons, whether it was money or whether it was security, I moved to the United States when I was 12 years old, and I think the biggest thing, or one of the biggest struggles that I had, was that I didn't speak the language. Like, I spoke Spanish mainly, and having to learn a new language at the age of 12, it is easier than being 20 or 30 or 40 years old, because the younger you are, the faster you can learn a language. But it was a little bit tough for me because I had to be the person in the family to kind of take care of things, as far as like talking to people, as far as like, I don't know, just doing new things. For example, like, you know, going to the grocery store, or asking anyone questions. My mom didn't speak English, like any English at all. Neither did my little sister or my stepdad. So what I had to do is I had to be the one that had to speak up and had to get out of his comfort zone a lot. So this was tough for me, but it was definitely something that I appreciate now. I love the fact that I had to go through that. But on other things, on the other spectrum of things, because we were the first ones in the United States in my family, and because there was, you know, my mom, she didn't know English, and she mainly was trying to figure out, you know, how we're going to make it work here in the US. Things such as, you know, joining soccer teams, getting scholarship for school, enrolling to go to college, you know, like the parent-teacher conferences, all those things were something new to us. And I think I had to be the one that had to go through those stages of learning those things by myself. Alright, so I don't love everything that I said here, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Cool. So if you mess up like that, or if you don't know where to end it, you can actually trim things up and pick up from there. Okay, so I'm going to save this part. So once I graduated high school, I really got out of my comfort zone. At this moment, I spoke English, you know, I was talking to girls, I felt really comfortable in my environment. But what happened was, 4 of my closest friends went under mission, and they went out for 2 years. They moved out of the country for 2 years. They went somewhere else, and they really had something that they had to do at that moment in life. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is at that moment in life, I just felt so lost, and I felt so confused, and I felt like my purpose in life didn't really mean anything. Like, I didn't really feel like I was accomplishing anything in life. And so my first instinct was, well, you know, once you graduate high school, especially here in Utah, is you either go on your mission, and I wasn't, you know, part of the church, so you either go on your mission or you go to college. And, you know, I thought, okay, college looks cool, and based on movies, you know, you see like the parties, the girls, the alcohol, all the fun that you get to have in college. And so I was like, yeah, I want to do that, right? And so I decided to pack up my stuff. I decided to move downtown with a couple of friends, and I decided to, you know, go to school full-time and get a job full-time, because my mom wasn't going to pay for me to live outside the house, and nor did I expect her to do that. So not only I had to pay for college, but I had to pay for my house and my car and all my bills, right? So that's what happened. I got a full-time job, and I was, you know, waking up, you know, 5 a.m., riding the train, you know, all the way downtown at the beginning stages, and go to my 7 a.m. class, be from school from like 7 a.m. to like 11, then ride the train back to West Jordan, which is where I was working at, and I would work, you know, from that time until 8 p.m. Then after that, I would have night classes until like, you know, 10:30 p.m. So it was like one of the best moments, or one of the best stages of my life. And I think the reason why I say that is because I had to really bust my ass to do things and to earn things. I'm so glad it happened, because during that time I learned to appreciate the process of just working hard, right? Like, you had to appreciate the process of waking up super early, going to bed super late, being hungry all the time, because it made me feel alive, right? It made me feel like I was accomplishing things. So I'm glad it happened, but I think that's where my next stage, or my next story, comes in. So as I was going to school and work full time, as I was doing all these different things, I kept getting these questions of, what do you want to do in life? You know, what degree do you have, or what degree are you studying? What do you want to be when you grow up? You know, and they truly scared me. And the reason why they scared me is because, yeah, I had been in school for, you know, 1-2 years. I was doing new things, I was learning new things, but I still didn't have the answer, right? the certain answer of like, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. And then I see, my friends saying, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to do this, I want to do that. So I really asked myself, like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why is it that I'm not at that point? Why is it that all these people have already figured it out? And, I'm 20 years old already, and I still haven't done it. Like, what am I missing? So I think the biggest thing that I have to do, and one of the biggest things that have helped me out in the past 4 or 5 years after graduating high school, was, I think, learning who you are as a person is the number one thing. So learning what your strengths are, learning what your weaknesses are, learning what you like and what you don't like, learning who the you are. That is such an important part of growth, right? And so as I was going to school, these questions started coming up of like, who am I, and why am I doing the things that I do? Which is, and I'll talk about that maybe on another episode, but that's the reason why I stopped going to college, is because I asked myself, why am I going to school? Like, is this something that I believe in? And the answer was no, right? But going back to my origin story, I started asking myself, what is important to me, and why do I care? Like, why is it that I value time so much? I care so much that, I'm only 20 years old and I'm already getting worried that I'm getting too old, right? I don't know if any of you guys have had this fear in your head of like, oh my gosh, I'm so old already, but you're barely in your 20s, or not even in your 20s, and you're already freaking out about what it is that you're going to do with your life, right? And so that was my biggest thing, is I asked myself, why is it that I feel this way? Like, why am I so scared of growing up? Because it wasn't like I was scared of the responsibilities. I was living by myself. I enjoyed the freedom that I had. So it wasn't that I was scared of growing up. I was scared of growing up without achieving the things that I wanted to achieve. And you see social media and you see all these people doing big things, making all this money, traveling, doing all the things that you want to be doing, and you say, well, if I'm their age, or if I'm younger, or actually older than them, then I am backtracked. I am not where I'm supposed to be right now, right? So that's what was happening to me, and it became a big part of this soul searching experience that I had to go through. I think one of the biggest things that has always driven me as well is that, my family, my parents, like my mom, my stepdad, they made the sacrifice of, literally, they sold everything, like the house, the cars, like properties. They said bye to family, they said bye to friends. They left everything that they knew in Colombia to move to the United States. And while it was beneficial for them, the reason why they did it is because of myself and my two sisters. Like, they did it as a sacrifice so that we could have a better future, right? Which is essentially what all immigrants do, right? They come to the United States for a better future, not just for themselves, but for their family. And I just remember like thinking about, what if I am just like any other person that takes their opportunities for granted and doesn't do anything with their lives? And what I mean by that, quote unquote, do anything with their lives, is because I want to do something special, right? I want to, not just make a lot of money, not just help out a lot of people, but I want to make a true impact in this world. And I feel like if I didn't do that, it would be a dishonor to my mom, for all the things that she has done for me. So that right there is a number one desire for me, is I want to do something special with my life. And I think my whole life I haven't been able to put that into words, but now that I have that, right, like now, and at that moment when I understood why I did the things that I did, I think things became a little bit more clear for me. So in the next segment, I want to be talking about external struggles and internal struggles that happen with that. Okay, so I am 2 years into college. I have changed my major probably at least 4 or 5 times. I went from social work to I actually applied for the business school, but I got rejected because of my math scores or my math grades in high school. So I actually didn't even get to, you didn't even get accepted to business school at the University of Utah. And so I thought, okay, you know what? What's the closest thing to business that is not under the business school? And that was economics. So I started, studying economics, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. And one of the classes that I had to take for economics was a marketing class. It was an upper level marketing class, and all it really was is just, it was public speaking and communications. And in this class, I came in and it really was a lot of business students and myself. I kind of felt a little bit out of, I didn't really feel like I belonged in the group too much. And, it was fine. It was a good time. But what happened was we had this project, and this project required us to, just like if you guys have seen Shark Tank, right? There's, people that create products or services, or they invent something and they go to this venture capitalist, or venture capitalist? I don't think that's how you say it. These VCs, right? People that are investing money in other people's businesses. And they, our project was to create a business model, create a product or a service, and then present it to the class. And at that moment, I had never thought about that. I had never done anything like that. And so I thought, okay, that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. So I remember, I started just sketching up ideas and thinking of things that could potentially become a business. I started doing research, and I started learning about money that can be made with your own business. I started learning about public speaking, about what it represents to be a business owner, right? And I learned more about capitalism, about all these different topics, and I think that's when I first started, falling in love with business in general. And what ended up happening was I came up with this application. It was called Red Text, and if you have known me in the stages of Red Text, shout out to you. And if you didn't know me, that's okay. I'm going to explain it right now. So, Red Text was an idea that I had to, actually, let me back up. I created it because at that moment in my life, there was a close friend of mine that was involved in a car crash. And she was involved in a car crash because of someone that was looking at their phone while driving, right? She was driving home from, I don't know where, late at night. And this guy just, T-boned her. She went into a coma for, I think, 17 days. And it was a very, very crazy time in all of our lives, because it was our group of friends that was involved in that. And so that moment, and she's okay now, thank God, and she's doing really, really great. But at that moment, I thought about her, and I thought about, okay, what is something that I could create that could potentially reduce the risk of people texting and driving. And I thought about this idea of, having an application that turns on automatically, so that when you're driving, it turns on and it actually blocks off calls and texts from people. And it not only blocks calls and texts, but it also sends them a notification saying, hey, Sebastian's driving right now, would you still like to send a message? So it would kind of put the responsibility on the sender and not on the receiver. And I thought it was a great idea. I was like, you know what? I think this is gonna help out a lot of people. I think it's gonna do great. And I remember, waking up, and the first thing I would think about is this business idea. I would think about it and I would obsess with it. I would draw up sketches. I would think about how I can make it better. I would do research on it. I would do budgeting. I would do all these different things behind the, kind of like the business model of things, of how it would have worked. And we had the project at school, and I think I did well. I actually can't remember how I did. I think I did well. But the biggest thing is that once the class ended, that feeling that I had of like, I'm obsessed with this, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was so excited about, working on this project. I had never felt like that in my life before. And I remember at that time I said, this feeling that I have right now, I want to have that feeling for the rest of my life. And so I kept approaching, kept approaching that project. But what happened was I received a lot of no's, and I think at this moment of my life, I don't think I was ready mentally to actually pursue something like that. But I received a lot of no's from my professors, from app developers, from all the different people. So I said, you know what, like, maybe this isn't for me. That's okay. I'm gonna step away from it a little bit. Turns out, the iPhones came out with a feature that is exactly what I had in mind, which is super, super cool. And I actually use it so that, when you're driving, your iPhone is connected to your Bluetooth, and it automatically blocks off calls and texts or any notifications until you stop driving. So obviously, I don't know. I could have approached this and maybe I could have, done something special with it. Either way, it was created years later. But I think the biggest lesson that I learned is that I wanted to, number one, keep pursuing that feeling that I had. Like, that feeling was indescribable, and if you've ever felt that way before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, I also learned that business is hard, that entrepreneurship is hard, and I feel like actually at this moment I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was until like a couple of years later when it caught traction and people started talking about it more. But business is hard, and ideas, and everyone has ideas every single day, and they could potentially be great, but it's more about following through with those ideas. So that's what happened, and I think that the biggest thing that I got from this, the epiphany that I had, was that I wanted to chase that feeling for the rest of my life, and that's exactly what I'm doing here today. So to close this podcast off, and to close off the origin story of who I am today, I wanted to share with you guys the things that have happened in my life that have led me to this point today, where I love business, and I not only love entrepreneurship, but I do love the process of creating a business, and of thinking of different ways to improve it, and of thinking of the logistics. I like business in a very different way, because it's not just of creating a business, but I like the logistics, the step-by-step things that you have to do to create a business. But I think my biggest weakness is that I don't follow through with business, right? I think about all these ideas and I start working on them, and then once I lose steam, once I lose focus, I'll jump onto something else, right? So like I said earlier, that is one of my biggest weaknesses, but it's something that I need to work on, or simply meet someone that can help me with this weakness, that they can take care of the sticking through and seeing things through, and I can work on the business logistics of things. But the biggest thing that I got from this epiphany that I had, where I realized that I love business, is I realized that I wanted things too fast, and I expected things to happen for me, right? And I think that's a lot of things that happen, especially if you're younger. I think we all feel like we are entitled to receiving things. I feel like or maybe this isn't you, but I feel like at that stage of my life, I believed that I was special, and I believed that I deserved special. And while I do believe that I'm different, just like everyone else, I don't think I deserve anything. I think I have to work my ass off in order for to get the lifestyle that I desire. And even though I didn't pull through with this business, and I've done things in my life that I could have done better, the number one thing is I've been able to find success without necessarily opening up my own business, right? I think the biggest thing for me is to learn, right? I need to soak up, and I need to learn as much as I can right now. Like, you know, put down my head and work. Like, if you guys listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, that's all he says is just put down your head for 10 years, work your ass off, and then look up 10 years later. And so right now, as a social media manager at 4Life, I have been a manager for a year now. I have been working there for 5 years now, and I feel like I've learned so much. I've had so many opportunities to do very special things, but not just that. I think what I've realized is that I need to give my 110% to everything I do at 4Life, because the work ethic that I'm developing today, right? And I am, you know, I'm 23 years old. I've been working for over 7 years, but the work ethic that I'm developing right now is a work ethic that I'll take home with me. Now, is a work ethic I'll take into my business when I open one up, right? So I think that was the number one thing, right? And if I can leave one message with all of you guys, is that I don't know, just life happens so fast, you know, and I think we're always looking for the next thing, and we're always looking to satisfy ourselves. But I think what we need to do is just stop and just realize what we have in this moment right now. Realize what we have, soak up as much as we can from it, and just keep growing every single day. Right? Keep growing every single day. So with that, I want to thank everyone for listening to my origin story. It was a little bit longer, but I could definitely talk about this more. But it is something that's very important to me, and I'm hoping that, you know, in 10, 20 years I can look back and I can see, you know, who I was, who Sebastian was on July 6, 2019, and who that person has become. So thank you guys so much for listening to Sep Talks. If you have any questions or any comments, you can message me through whatever platform you're listening to right now, or you can reach me on Instagram at BastianG06. And yeah, if you guys have anything else, let me know. But otherwise, I'll catch you on my next episode. See ya. Okay, so that's how you record a podcast and you create video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It is definitely something that I want to have for the next, 100 years, for the rest of my life. I want to have this proof of who Sebastian was at age 23, July 6, 2019. If you guys have any questions or any comments, I truly hope that I can answer them for you. And outside of that, I truly hope that you guys got value from this video. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Let's go!